So for the past week, Jon Jones and Francis Ngannou have been going back and forth on social media. A few days ago, Jones tweeted to send him the deal for the fight. Today, Jon has changed his mind for who he wants to fight next. He wants more than just a heavyweight fight, he wants Stipe's belt. He tweeted, "The more I think about it, if I'm going to be taking big risks, I might as well go for all the cheese. I want that crown too. Send a deal." The Goodwill in Albuquerque is about to get hooked up with some bomb-ass 36 waist jeans. So who do you guys think would win in a fight between Jon Jones and Stipe Miocic? Let us know your opinions in the comments below. Speaking of Jon Jones, Israel Adesanya commented on what he thinks about the talks between Jon Jones and Francis Ngannou. On ESPN's Instagram post about the fight, he commented saying it's been over 10 years. He won't.
If you're trolling us right now, if you're just doing this for the likes and for the gram, I'm not happy with you. I'm going to take you at your word. If you are really interested in this fight, I'm all in.
Daniel Cormier speaks on the recent news of Khabib Nurmagomedov's father being in bad condition. DC also tells a story about the time he wrestled Khabib's father.
It's just a sad time for the champ and his family, and we never know what life is going to deal us. And right now, the Nurmagomedov family is dealing with something very difficult with father. He calls him father all the time. But I know that Khabib's dad is one of the strongest people in the world, and he's going to fight to be there for his son and his grandkids and his family. And I'm just hoping that he does okay. He's a strong man. Like, he's a really, really strong man. Like, if you don't know him personally, Khabib's father is one of the strongest human beings that you've ever met. I was at the Ultimate Fighter gym one time, and his dad grabbed me to wrestle with me, right? And he threw me down. So him and I started trying to tussling around a few years ago. And then Khabib goes, "DC, this guy really tried to win." And then I realized his dad was actually trying to beat me. Like, he's not just wrestling with you to play around. Like, he's the real deal, man. And I hope the champ and his family get through this and feel good.
So after UFC on ESPN 8, Edson Barboza appealed his split decision loss to Dan Ige. Barboza's appeal was denied. His manager told MMA Junkie, "We wanted to come in front of them and analyze the fight and show them the decision was wrong. They can't allow it because for that to happen, I would have to accuse the judges of fraud or Ige of having taken performance-enhancing drugs. I have no suspicion of fraud, and I don't think he takes PEDs. I think he's a great fighter and he fought really well. I can't appeal because of that." The whole world saw Edson winning that fight. Nothing against Ige, he fought a great fight and he's a tough guy and all props to him, but the problem is, from our perspective, the scoring was wrong. We should be able to take a fight before the commission and appeal. And if they think the scoring is wrong, they should be able to overturn. That doesn't happen here. The law doesn't permit it to. Alistair Overeem on Ariel Helwani's MMA show speaks on the potential super fight between Francis Ngannou and Jon Jones.
Listen, I've been seeing that online. I love that idea of them too. I just love it. I definitely think Jon can beat him. But to be honest, with all due respect, I do not think Jon is going to do that fight.
Why not?
Not much to win, a lot to lose. So, because if he wins, he's not heavyweight champion. I mean, that fight after that would be then for the title, I guess. So, I don't know. But then again, it's finances too. It's a complex situation, but I definitely think Jon can beat him. And it would be a mega fight. So it's definitely something I am very much looking forward to. But also Israel Adesanya and Jon Jones, right? That's also a big feud. And I really enjoy these guys smack talking back and forth. It's really amusing, and hopefully it will produce some great mega fights.
Uriah Faber speaks on the stoppage in the fight between Dominic Cruz and Henry Cejudo. Faber says that he feels for Cruz on that stoppage and also speaks on Cruz saying that the referee Keith Peterson smelled like alcohol and cigarettes. He told MMA Junkie the referees are in there to do their jobs and save guys from taking too much damage. But at the end of the day, especially in world championship fights, when you're dealing with guys that are future Hall of Famers and multiple-time world champions, we want to remove all doubt. We want to know like I had no more chance, so I feel him for that. I feel like he still could have had a chance, and that's always the part that irks you. So I understand his frustration. I doubt Keith Peterson was drunk. He may have been sweating some alcohol and definitely smelling like cigarettes, but I don't think he was drunk. He was just trying to look out for Dom. Aljamain Sterling on UFC Unfiltered speaks on the current status of the bantamweight division. Sterling also speaks on how Henry Cejudo's retirement impacts his odds of getting a title shot.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. Either way, if it's a Corey Sandhagen, if it's a Peter Yan, I'm excited. I'm waking up and I'm getting up for both those opponents. Either way, it's a good fight. I think they're both good fights for me, so I'm not really too stressed about that. I think they just need to wait to see how everything clears up, whether or not they're going to go back to Vegas after these fight cards, or they're going to stay in Jacksonville. I think it's more so one of those type of things, waiting to see if Nevada's going to open up to do events at the Apex Center and go from there. I think Phuket, Thailand is where he's training. I stalk his Instagram sometimes because I got to make sure I'm training harder than him. I'm super psycho like that, bro. I try to get the edge any way I can.
Yeah.
I would love both, man. And hopefully Henry stays retired for a bit, and I'm going to make him an offer. If he decides to stay retired and give us an opportunity to fight for the belt, I will become his real estate agent in New York in case he wants to buy any houses out here. Either myself or Ally Quinton will try to get him a house and be like, hey, when you come back, we'll put the house for sale, and then we get your ass whipped too. So I'm excited for the future. There's so many opportunities.
I like that.
And Michael Bisping on the Believe You Me podcast speaks on the current status of the UFC heavyweight division. Bisping explains why he feels like Stipe may be stalling a bit for his next title defense.
I want to talk about Francis Ngannou. Francis Ngannou and Jairzinho Rosenstruck. Before I strike. You don't even need a big understanding of fight knowledge or mixed martial arts in general. What you just saw there was just an absolutely brutal display of violence that anyone can understand. That crosses all barriers. You don't need to have seen a fight or a boxing match or any kind of martial art in your life to watch that and know what you saw was fucking incredible and absolutely terrifying. When he fought Stipe Miocic, he was still learning the ropes of mixed martial arts, and you gain a ton of experience from a lost lad that going 5 rounds with a guy like Stipe getting out wrestled. You learn to reevaluate things, and you realize that you need to work on other skills. I mean, a guy like Francis Ngannou that can knock anybody out, you can be forgiven for falling into that false sense of security that you can just go out there and knock anybody out, because up until that point, he had just gone out there and knocked everybody out. And since then, he's knocking everybody out. And I gotta say, I mean, the way that finished, I said it a moment ago, so I won't go into it too much, but me. I mean, you want to talk about MMA's version of Mike Tyson. Well, there you go. Look no further. But outside of mixed martial arts, Jairzinho had 76 kickboxing fights. But he made a big mistake. It's easy for me to sit here and say this. It's very different when you're in there, right? But Jairzinho kind of made a mistake because Ngannou is all about the heavy hands, right? He doesn't really throw many kicks. Just comes out, looks for the opening, swings with everything he has. Jairzinho was throwing inside leg kicks, inside low kicks. And when you do that, one of the hands kind of comes down. So you expose your chin, okay? And then as a guy like Francis is coming towards you and you're backing up, which Jairzinho was, you don't throw inside fucking leg kicks, right? And he did it a couple of occasions. He threw one, and then as Francis was backing him up, he threw another one. Number one, an inside leg kick, whilst it is bothersome, isn't going to give any kind of damage to stop the forward momentum of a guy like Francis Ngannou. It's just not. What you've got to do, if a guy like Francis is coming on, you got to have the tightest of tight fucking guards, and you got to be ready to block those shots and then look for a counter when Francis stops throwing. And he was just trying to get warmed up into the fight. The fight hadn't even started yet. It was 20 goddamn seconds. But as I said, it's easy for me to say, but that's what he should have done. He should have had those hands tight. I'm not even thinking about throwing a low kick. Amazing performance. And it was so funny, wasn't it, to see Ngannou being such a vicious killer, and then on the microphone he just say, well, it was a great fight for me, and so calm, and so nice, and so relaxed. You know what I mean? He was just like, he sounds like the nicest person you could ever meet, but he's absolutely fucking terrifying. But you're the scariest person in the room always. Yeah. You don't need to shout. Yeah, absolutely. That's precisely what it was. Let's remember, here's a guy. He's from Cameroon, I think, not Nigeria. I had Nigeria in my head for some reason. He's definitely from Africa, we know that. But he's from Cameroon. And we've seen footage of him when he's gone back to where he's from. And, it's a very underprivileged area, and that's putting it politely. It isn't a particularly affluent area, far from it, the opposite, in fact. And he was trying to build a gym, and it was the guy comes from super humble beginnings, okay? And now here he is. He lives in Las Vegas. He's fighting in the UFC. He's fighting main events. He just fought for the belt. And this is all because of the UFC. It's all because he is a fighter in the UFC. It's all because he wins fights.
And that's going to wrap it up for the news. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to subscribe to Full Mount MMA and click the bell icon to be notified when we post future ones. Here are the 3 top comments from last video. The first one's from Alexander, and it says, props for covering the John Jones story right in the beginning of the video. The second one says, Jones by jump spinning reverse eye poke. And the final one's from Kevin Charles, and it says, Dana using reverse psychology 100%. Those were the 3 top comments from last video. If you want to be featured on the next one, all you have to do is comment down below. Also be sure to check out the other types of MMA content we post on this channel. Click either of these 2 videos on the screen right now.